Welcome back to Cafe Karma. Before we get into the stack today, I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Imagine a sound.
Okay.
It's that faint, elegant clinking of a silver spoon against a porcelain cup. That very precise, delicate movement.
The tension in the fingers.
That is exactly where we're starting. We are looking at a symbol that's so common we basically ignore it, but it defines our entire existence, the hand.
It's our primary interface with the world. I mean, it's
Yeah.
how we do anything.
Exactly. But here's the paradox, and this is what really hooked me when I was going through the research for this deep dive. We're looking at one single constellation that claims to rule both the skillful pickpocket and the divine surgeon.
Right.
It heals, it steals, it prays, it creates. So, I mean, how can one cosmic energy be responsible for both the thief and the saint?
It's a fascinating contradiction. It really suggests that the tool itself, the hand, is neutral. It's the motivation behind the grasp that defines the karma.
So to figure this out, we are zooming in on, well, the palm of the universe. We are doing a deep dive into the Vedic star, the Nakshatra, known as Hasta.
Hasta Nakshatra. And it's such a critical slice of the zodiac because it deals with the cosmic power of manifestation.
Okay, we should probably define that.
We should, yeah. Because I want to be very clear. We're not talking about manifesting in that vague, wishful thinking way where you just, hope for a parking spot.
All right, this isn't just visualization.
No. We're talking about the mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
how you move from wanting something to actually feeling the weight of it in your physical grip.
The transfer of an idea into matter.
Exactly.
We have a huge stack of sources today. We're pulling from the ancient Rig Veda, foundational myths, and the technical breakdown in the Brihat Parasara Horasastra. The mission is to decode what this star tells us about skill, greed, and ultimately liberation. So let's start with the name, Hasta.
It's refreshingly literal. Hasta translates directly to the hand.
Simple enough.
When we say the hand in the Vedic sky map, we are talking about this specific corridor of energy.
But there was this linguistic nugget in the etymology notes I didn't expect. The word isn't just about anatomy, it's connected to the Sanskrit root has.
Has, which means to laugh.
Laughter, that seems like a complete left turn. I mean, why is a hand funny?
It's not that the hand itself is funny, it's that the hand is witty. Think about a magician doing sleight of hand.
Or card shark.
Or a card shark, exactly. There's a smile there, a little bit of trickery. The energy of this star is jovial. It's the dexterity of the wit as much as the dexterity of the digits.
The mischievous hand, I like that. So let's orient ourselves. If we're looking at a chart, where exactly are we?
We are landing right in the middle of the constellation of Virgo. Specifically, from 10 degrees to 23 degrees and 20 minutes of Virgo, or Kanya in Sanskrit.
Okay, Virgo. This is usually where people think, lists, details, maybe a slightly anxious accountant.
And that's the pop culture version, sure. But to understand the engine of Hasta, you have to look at the mechanics. Virgo is ruled by Mercury.
The planet of data, logic, processing.
Correct. But the star, Hasta, this specific zone we're in, is ruled by the moon.
And the moon is the total opposite. It's emotion, intuition, the subconscious.
So imagine that tension. You have the moon, this moody, cyclical feeling mind sitting right in Mercury's office, which is just trying to file everything into spreadsheets.
It sounds like a recipe for a nervous breakdown.
It can be. And in the mythology, Mercury is actually the son of the moon, but they have this really difficult relationship. Mercury can't stand the moon's ambiguity. So Hasta is the specific zone where the intellect is frantically trying to control and direct the subconscious mind. It is where your feelings collide with data.
So it's like trying to justify a gut feeling using an Excel sheet.
That is the perfect analogy. And when it works, it's brilliant. You get inspired intelligence. You get the artisan who intuitively knows where to carve, backed by the technical precision to do it.
Because the moon gives the feel, and Mercury gives the technique.
Precisely. But when it doesn't work, it's that mental fluctuation, anxiety, being overly critical of your own intuition. The mind just runs in circles trying to rationalize a feeling.
Okay, let's look at the visuals. If I look up into the night sky, what am I actually seeing?
You're looking for the constellation Corvus, the crow or the raven.
It's a crow.
Yes. It's made of 5 specific stars, Alpha, Beta, Delta, Gamma, and Epsilon Corvi. And if you connect them, they look exactly like the outstretched fingertips of a hand.
Nature really isn't subtle with these symbols sometimes.
Not at all.
So we have the hand, the crow, this Mercury-Moon tension, but to really get the vibe of the place, we have to talk about the ruling deity.
Savitar.
Now, Savitar is a form of the sun god, but the sources are very specific about which version of the sun this is. It isn't the blazing noonday heat.
No, if you stand under the noon sun, you just get burned. It's too intense. Savitar is specifically the golden light of dawn.
A wake-up call.
Exactly. The root of the word Savitar is su, which means to inspire or to impel. He is the awakener.
Right.
Think about that physiological response you have when the sun first hits your eyes in the morning.
You squint.
You activate.
Yeah.
Your circadian rhythm kicks in. The brain switches from dream mode to do mode. That impulse, that spark of let's go, that is Savitar.
It's interesting you say impulse to do, because one of the most famous mantras in the entire Vedic tradition is tied to this star, right? The Gayatri Mantra.
It is the most revered mantra, yes.
Yeah.
Tat Savitur Varenyam. It is addressed directly to Savitar. And if you actually look at the translation, it tells you everything about Hasta.
It's not asking for things?
No, it's not asking for money or health or a new car.
What's it asking for?
The illumination of the intellect. Diyo na prachadayat. May that divine light inspire our intelligence.
That is a crucial distinction. So bringing this back to the hand, Hasta isn't just about moving your fingers around.
No, it's about inspired action. It is the intelligence that guides the hand. Without Savitar, the hand is just flesh. With Savitar, it becomes a tool of divine creation.
It's the difference between a toddler banging on a piano and a virtuoso.
Exactly. The dexterity becomes spiritualized.
Speaking of spiritualized dexterity, we have to touch on the myth, because these stories are always code for how the energy works, and this one's a little graphic.
You're talking about the sacrifice of Daksha.
Right. So at this great cosmic sacrifice, the deity Rudra, a form of Shiva, gets angry, storms the ceremony, and in the chaos, he cuts off Savitar's hands.
Violent, but deeply symbolic.
But it doesn't end there. The gods calm Rudra down and they fix the damage. But they don't give Savitar his old hands back. They give him new hands made of solid gold.
The golden hands.
What is the takeaway there? Why gold?
Well, gold represents purity, of course. But more than that, its value. Refinement. By replacing flesh hands with gold hands, the myth is telling us that true skill is a divine gift. Our ability to craft, to heal, to build it has to be alchemical. We have to turn our raw labor, our flesh, into mastery, our gold.
It transforms labor into art.
And it also implies the person born under this star has a kind of Midas touch. They have this capacity to take something ordinary, raw data, raw wood, raw food, and through their manual skill, turn it into something valuable.
Which brings us perfectly to the Shakti, the superpower of the star. And this one seems incredibly practical.
It is. The Shakti is Hasta Stapanya Agama Shakti.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Break it down.
The translation is the power to put what one seeks into one's own hand.
See, that sounds like what everyone wants,
Yeah.
but the phrasing is so specific, it's not attract, it's put into the hand.
It's tactile. The imagery in the text is the seeking is above, the process of gaining is below. It's emphasizing that this isn't about sitting around and visualizing a Ferrari.
Right, it's not the secret.
Not at all. It is about grasping. It implies effort, dexterity, and physically reaching out to take hold of what you desire. It moves from a wish to a possession.
That makes me think of the other symbol mentioned in the sources, the clenched fist.
Yes. If the open hand is the blessing, the clenched fist is the holding.
And that can go two ways, can it?
Everything in this system is a spectrum. On the positive side, the clenched fist is determination. It's holding on to your resources, hard work, keeping a grip. You want a surgeon with a firm grip.
And the negative side.
Greed, hoarding, secrecy, the inability to let go. That miser archetype, holding coins so tight their knuckles turn white, that is the shadow of Hasta. They're so good at grasping they can forget how to release.
That actually leads perfectly into the personality profile. We mentioned that laughter connection earlier. The root word has.
Yes. Hasta natives often have a very distinctive sense of humor. The sources describe it as a mischievous smile or a really sharp, deadpan wit.
The class clown.
Sometimes, but more often, the clever jester. Remember, they're dealing with all that heavy Virgoan energy, the details, the rules, the criticism. Humor is the release valve.
But then there's this recurring theme in the texts about thieves, pickpockets, and rascals.
The shadow side of dexterity.
The artful dodger.
It is. I mean, you combine high manual dexterity, Mercury's cunning logic, and the moon's adaptability, and what do you get?
The skillful manipulator.
You do. And the notes mention something fascinating about ancient kings.
Yes, this blew my mind.
In ancient Indian statecraft, kings were actually expected to be trained in the arts of lying, gambling, and fraud.
Why would they do that? To cheat their own people.
No, to detect it, and to use it when necessary for state survival. Savitar, the deity, is a trickster figure in some myths. He gambles. So, Hasta natives have this ability to navigate the gray areas. They can pick the lock, literally or metaphorically.
But if we flip that coin, the same sensitive hands are the healer.
Absolutely. Virgo is the sign of health and hygiene. Hasta is the hand that administers the cure. This is the star of the massage therapist, the surgeon, the Reiki practitioner. It's the laying on of hands.
And palmistry itself, obviously.
Of course, this star governs the reading of destiny in the hands. It's very meta using the hand to understand the hand.
So we've got the Joker, the Thief, and the Healer. Let's talk about the blueprint, how this energy operates in the real world. The sources classify it as Vaishya, the merchant caste.
Right. It's transactional. It's about exchange, trade, business. It's not the Brahmin who meditates or the warrior who fights. It's the merchant who says, I have this skill, you have that money, let's make a deal.
And the nature is Kshipra.
Swift, light, agile.
So this is not the heavy lifting of building a pyramid.
No. This is the fast hands of a card dealer, a stock trader, a court stenographer, speed and precision. If you're trying to do something that requires long, slow endurance like farming potatoes, Hasta might feel too jittery. But for quick transactions, it's perfect.
There was also a technical term in the timing section I found really visual, Tiryagmukha.
Ah, yes. Horizontal facing or sideways facing.
What does that mean? The star looks sideways.
It refers to the flow of energy. Some stars look up, good for building towers. Some look down, good for digging wells. Hasta looks sideways.
Across the horizon.
Exactly. So it's best for activities that move across the Earth. Travel, driving, spreading nets, expanding a business. It's about covering ground, laterally.
So if I want to build a skyscraper, maybe not Hasta, but if I want to drive a truck across the country.
Hasta is your star.
And let's not forget the timing, the sun connection.
Right. Sunday is the day of the sun. Since Savitar is the solar deity, when the moon is in Hasta on a Sunday, it creates a special alignment called Sarvartha Siddhi Yoga.
Which means complete accomplishment.
It's like a cosmic green light. The hand of Hasta and the inspiration of the sun are perfectly aligned.
I want to circle back to something from the beginning, that clash between Mercury and the moon. Why is it so important for understanding the purpose of this star?
Because that is the fundamental human struggle. We all have these wild emotional impulses from the moon. And we all have a rational mind, Mercury, that tries to organize them. Hasta is the workshop where we try to integrate the two.
Can you give me an example of that integration?
Sure. When a Hasta native is unevolved, they might use their logic to justify their emotional greed. That's the thief. I want it, says the moon, and I can figure out how to take it, says Mercury. They rationalize the theft.
But when they are evolved,
They use their intellect to channel their intuition into something tangible and helpful. That's the surgeon. The surgeon needs the logic, but also the intuition to know how the body is reacting. That blend is the magic of Hasta,
the awakened hand.
the awakened hand. Savitar awakens the intellect and the hand does the work.
So what does this all mean for us? We've got this star of grasping of commerce, of swiftness. It sounds very worldly.
It does. It sounds like the ultimate star for capitalism.
Right, but then I saw the goal listed in the notes.
Moksha.
Liberation, spiritual freedom.
That is the ultimate twist of Hasta.
How does the star of mine, I'm holding this, lead to I am free of everything?
This is the profound lesson. You cannot let go of something you never truly held.
Whoa, okay, unwrap that for me.
You can't renounce the world if you were never really a part of it. If your hand is empty because you were too lazy or too scared to grab anything, that's not spiritual renunciation. That's just an empty hand.
So you have to earn the right to let go.
In this view, yes. Hasta teaches us that, first, we must fully engage. We use our golden hands to craft, to heal, to earn, to hold our karma tight. We have to master the material plane.
And
only then, when we have fully grasped it, when we feel the weight of it in our palm, do we have the power to open the fist, to let it all go.
So the grasping is a prerequisite for the release.
Exactly. The ultimate mastery of the hand isn't the clenched fist, it's the open palm, the blessing.
That's actually beautiful. It completely changes how I look at ambition or materialism. It's just a necessary step.
Precisely. Savitar wakes us up so we can get to work, so eventually we can rest.
Well, on that note, I'm definitely going to look at my hands a little differently today.
As you should. They are the tools of your spirit.
We want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the palm of the universe.
It has been a pleasure.
And here's a final thought to walk away with, something that wasn't explicitly in the texts, but just feels right. If Hasta is about the hand and laughter, maybe the ultimate spiritual act is simply taking life lightly, holding it but not squeezing the life out of it.
A gentle grasp.
A gentle grasp. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.